Good day. Thank you for choosing me. I have a question related to two different sides of things. We have the vortex on one side, and on the other we have intuition, our sixth sense.
They're on the same side.
Okay, so if they're on the same side, when you intuitively get something that maybe isn't yours, but you sense something that's coming, and
well, that's a little bit different. Let us clarify a distinction, and then we'll hear from you more.
Okay.
When the reason we said they're on the same side is because this inspiration, this broader knowing compelling you to a thought or a word or a behavior, that's what we mean when we say it's on the same side. Anytime, start again, every thought that has ever been thought still exists. Mm-hmm. And law of attraction gathers those thoughts into cooperative piles, so to speak. So there are literally rivers and streams of consciousness that you can tap into at any time.
One vortex, though. Not just my vortex, it's the larger one?
Well, let us state it in another way. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists, wanted and unwanted. When we speak of the vortex, we're talking about the wanted part that source is in alignment with and that source is maintaining vibrational consistency in. In other words, that's that ongoing well-being that goes from generation to generation, incarnation to incarnation. It's just that never-ending stream of increasing well-being.
Okay.
But as a focused being here in this time-space reality, you have the ability to think thoughts that resonate with the vortex, and you have the ability to think thoughts that don't resonate with the vortex. And every thought you think is valid. So when you think a thought that doesn't resonate, that thought still gets to exist because free will exists. They're in this universe of diversity and in this universe of balance, in this universe of equal side to the, in other words, when you know what you don't want, there's an equivalent what you do want on the other side of the wave. So all of it exists. All of it exists, and all of it is helpful in the expansion. That's a really important thing that we're wanting to help everyone to understand. But it is possible for someone to get fixated. You know people that just become obsessive about things where they focus upon the problem and the problem and the problem and the problem, and the problem just seems to come to them in all kinds of different ways. And it feels like the problem is, sometimes people will say, Abraham, I swear I did not think that thought me. And what they're talking about is, but they did manage to get an active enough vibration going about it that they were beginning to attract around it. Mm-hmm. So we like to say to you that you can tell by the way you feel where the inspiration isn't the right word, but where the thought is coming from. We say if it felt wonderful, it feels like love, it's your inner being. If it feels like punishment, or it feels like telling you that you are inappropriate, it's your mother.
Right. Or the ego.
In other words, there's a lot of times people pick up on, so it's sort of like you can learn to read a language, and you can read any book in that language, and you can read uplifting books, or you can read deflating books, or you can read books that make your heart sing, or you can read books that make your heart ache. But the fact that you can read them is not really any big deal. You can read them. The question is, what are you choosing to give your attention to? And so we want you to feel that what this is all about, this art of allowing gathering, is about choosing the vibration that gives me the library card access to the thoughts about life and the things about life that are uplifting and that feel good when I read them.
So what's really interesting is that I came with two questions, and I asked one, and I think you answered the second one.
That's because it was in the vortex where we are.
I gave you both of them, okay.
You can't help it, because you don't ask your questions with your mouth.
Right.
You ask your questions vibrationally, you see.
So if I went back to the first question of sensing something that might be coming, having an impression, or feeling like that I'm actually in someone else's room eavesdropping on what might be happening, and being able to sort of predict is the wrong word, but sort of get a sense from their energy of what's going to happen.
Yes.
And
well, when Well, when you understand vibration, you see, you've got to, this is such a good conversation to have in this conversation about manifestation, because when we say to you that things are ripe and ready to pop, we're not kidding you. In other words, all kinds of things have been vibrationally prepared before they begin to manifest. Not just the good things, but the unwanted things too.
Right.
So to begin with, we would say that if you're getting an impression about something, and it is something that you would like to see play out, then stay focused there. But if you get an impression on something that is not like something that you want to see played out, then do your best to go general about it and get yourself into a different vibration, because it's no fun to participate on any level with unwanted things, and you just don't have to. Sometimes, haven't you all had the experience where you've had a thought about something, don't really know where it came from, it was mild enough that you didn't really pin it down, and then before you know it, somebody else was talking about it, and then before you know it, you're picking up a magazine article about it, and before you know it, you just happen to rendezvous with a television special about it, and pretty soon it feels like everybody's talking about it, and we're here to tell you everybody's not talking about it. It's really a diverse world. You are really diverse in the things that you're talking about. And even the networks and the programming where they are to some extent trying to orchestrate what they're giving to you, even that is influenced by this powerful law of attraction. But the most important part, and the word that we like to use most effectively to help you understand what's going on, use the word, rather than saying I created it for a while, or even I observed it for a while, or this happened for a while, start using the word I rendezvoused with it. I rendezvoused with this thought, or I rendezvoused with this impression. And then ask yourself the question, why did I rendezvous with it? Where was my frequency? Was I poking around at the problem, and did I rendezvous with more of the vibrational aspects of the problem? Or was I poking around at the solution? In other words, am I rendezvousing from inside the vortex or from outside the vortex? Because you're creating whether you're in or out.
So I was poking around to see if I could almost get an idea of what the answer would be related to this situation.
Well, sometimes that's fun, but we encourage a sort of different way of going about it. Esther in the beginning thought that too. She thought, oh good, now I've got Abraham. Abraham can tell me what's true, what's not true, who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth. And it broke down right away, because she realized that what we were telling her was that person believes what they're saying, or that person believes what they're saying, even though they were saying two entirely different things. And so who's right and who's wrong becomes really irrelevant in a universe where everyone gets to create and find alignment with whatever they choose. You don't have to line up on one side of the aisle on any topic, because it's a diverse enough place to accommodate what everyone wants. But the reason so many people are trying to control the behavior of others is because they're not yet controlling their own alignment with source, and they think that their well-being and that they feel is contingent upon controlling something so that they can feel good when they look at it.
Yeah, trying to know
when I see this thing, it makes me feel bad, therefore we need to get some laws in place and some enforcement in place so that we can stop this from happening so that I can feel good. And we say it's a long and never-ending, windly and unpleasant path, because you never get it done. This is a universe that's based on inclusion, not exclusion. And when you see something wanted and you say yes to it, you include it in your vibration, and law of attraction brings you plenty of it. And when you see something that you don't want and you shout no at it, you include it in your vibration, and law of attraction brings you plenty of it. It's just the way that it is. Law of attraction is just a fair deliverer of equivalent manifestations that equal precisely the vibration that you are offering and that you've been practicing. The best example of this, and you will appreciate this story, there was a woman in San Francisco who had lived there for a long time and frequently crossed the Bay Bridges and had no problem at all with doing it. And then she began to feel frightened every time she went across the bridge. Not just frightened, but terrified, to the point she said, Abraham, I want to just pull over my car and lay on the floorboard because it's just too frightening. She said, what's happening to me? Why is this paranoia happening to me now? And we said, what else is going on? In other words, there's something that has activated that feeling of vulnerability in your vibration. What has changed that has changed your perspective on things?
Doubt.
Well, she said, my neighbor was burglarized.
Yeah.
And I've been attending these neighborhood meetings where we've been talking about putting bars up, getting a guard, putting gates to make it a gated community. And so we said, you're picking up on the thought form. In other words, the first thing we said to her was, well, you're just picking up thought form. She didn't like the idea of that. You're just picking up impressions. But the question is, why are you picking up fearful impressions? What's happened that's making you pick up fearful impressions? When we put it to her that way, she knew immediately. My neighbor was burglarized. I've been attending these meetings. We're getting sort of carried away in it. And so even though it had nothing to do with the bridge, a whole other topic had caused her to activate vulnerability. And now as she goes across the bridge, she's picking up on people who are afraid when they cross the bridge.
Right.
There are people who cross the bridge who soar. Esther takes pictures with her iPhone while she drives the monster bus while she crosses the bridge. She has thousands of pictures on those bridges that she has taken while Jerry was asleep in the back. He may have been very frightened if he had known. Taking pictures with her iPhone at the beauty and the ever-changing beauty of the view of the water and the bay and the bridge itself. It's never-ending beauty. So for Esther, never anything but elation. So if this woman had been at a gathering like this and going across the bridge, she not only would have not wanted to lay on the floor, she would have had her head out the sunroof as Esther does, taking pictures of what's going on, you see. But when you are in that place where you are feeling vulnerable, now she's picking up, because every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And you are rendezvousing based upon whatever's actively involved within you. That's why, as we begin talking to you about not trying to control the reality around you, it becomes even bigger still when you realize that not only can you not control the behavior of the people around you in order to make them behave in a way that when you observe them, you feel good. Think about trying to control all of the thoughts that are out there and all of the congealing of thoughts that are out there and all of the rivers and streams of thoughts that are out there. It is an endless, hopeless situation. That's why so many people are sort of buffeted around, feeling lost and looking for their way. And when you put together that negative emotion means you're viewing something in opposition to the way the source within you views it, and then you begin feeling for the way the source within you views it until you've tuned yourself again and again over subject into alignment with that which your inner being feels, you are finally liberated. You are finally free of the only thing that binds you, which is resistance to your own evolved self.